Again, thank you all for being here today, though. As I'm sure there's quite a bit of people that signed up today. So quite a few will be jumping in and out as we go through this. But again, this is going to be kind of a replay of of last month's webinar in terms of making a marketing plan for 2023. And so really drilling down and focusing on what goals you need to make around your marketing plan to ensure that you can hit your revenue goals or whatever other goals you want to make for your shop in this coming year. Okay. And for those of you that do stay on to the rest of this webinar, there will be a little bit of a surprise at the end here if you do stick through with me. If not, no worries. Totally understand people are busy, but there will be something special for you here at the end. But what we'll cover today, so we're going to set clear goals and targets for the year in regards to both your revenue goals, car count, ARO, etc. And then on top of that, how that then correlates to the marketing plan and goals and budget that you should be making to ensure that you hit those goals. And then we're going to realign KPIs and tracking to achieve these outcomes. We're going to map out our plan for accomplishment. So that's budget, channels, important trends, and then set up for massive success for 2023 and beyond. Okay. So we're going over a fair amount of just kind of laying out that plan in detail for you in this coming year. So I guess to start it off, question, what's the hardest part about marketing your auto repair shop? So in the chat function below, can you guys chat and share with me just a few questions about just what you believe you think is the hardest part about marketing for your shop? Again, hopefully this can be as interactive as possible for you guys. Any question that you may have, please throw it in the chat. I'm regularly checking and looking to make sure I answer any and all of your questions. So hardest part. Someone has to have something for me, please. Standing out from the other shops around me. Yeah, so that definitely can be a tricky part about marketing, standing out, and kind of understanding how to stand out. So great comment there, Todd. Anyone else? All right, we're gonna keep going then. Don't be shy, everyone. Please leave questions. I want to be able to answer anything that you guys have here. So you're taking that time to spend with me. I want to make sure I give you all of my time here as well. And so again, so some of the tricky things. So many options. It's unclear where to spend your budget. You have money, you need to spend it on marketing, but you don't know where to spend it because there's just all these different ads and things coming at you in terms of this is where you should be spending your money. And it can be a major investment in marketing. So, different ways. Yes, more money may result in more sales, but not necessarily. But you want to make sure that you're properly investing in marketing, and not much to show for it. You've maybe been burned in the past by different marketing people you've worked with or marketing tactics you've tried, and just nothing to show for it. So the opportunity of marketing. So first off, we want to set clear goals. And brand new specialty auto shop. How do you handle initially building a small but strong customer base to grow from? That's a great question, Thomas. I appreciate you sharing that. Now, I don't know what specialty. I don't know if by specialty you mean by certain makes and models or what that may be. So in the very beginning, obviously you want to share it with the world in terms of like, hey, I'm an auto shop here in town. This is what we're doing. Like, find different local Facebook groups to find maybe your chamber of commerce. Like, you want to make sure that people are at least aware that, hey, my shop is here. And then from there, as you slowly but surely get in line with getting some cars coming through, you want to ensure that service is very, very high with them, and invest in a texting platform. Then that then can follow up, make sure that you're getting that right Google review, or make sure you have this the proper mechanism to ensure that they come back. Because now there's a huge opportunity cost in the very beginning of starting your shop of gaining these new customers, and then ensuring that, okay, you did a great job and they come back, because that will, again, that word will start to spread based on the service there. So those are, the very basic level, what you want to do. I don't know how much investment wise you have, but if you do have marketing dollars to actually invest, based on your demographical area, I would pick either doing mailers or Google ads. I'm a little bit biased in terms of I believe Google ads will work better, but mailers absolutely can work wonders, especially If you're in a little bit more of a rural area, mailers work very, very well. So I would look at those two different avenues as well as you start to get going. But thank you for sharing that question. So in terms of the opportunity of marketing, so first off, you want to set clear goals for yourself in terms of what you want to accomplish. So that way we know, again, what direction we need to go in. And so what are your goals for 2023? So this quote here says, "Success is goals, all else is commentary," by Brian Tracy. And so for me, that's really resonates with me a lot, because before, when I was kind of in my younger years, I didn't really believe in goal setting or anything like that. I honestly thought it was a waste of time. But who needs to set goals? I know what I want, and like in my mind, what I need to believe in. So why make goals? And quickly I learned that that was a kind of an incorrect way of thinking about goals, because if there's no real sense of direction, I mean, each and every day there's almost no purpose behind what you're doing. You don't really know what you're doing and why you're doing something. So in my mind, goals are absolutely essential to set, and especially writing down, as we'll get into here, of kind of the key differences of levels of setting goals and different ways that you can do that. But here, without goals, you're kind of just like a boat at sea, kind of wandering aimlessly. You're just kind of floating out there. You don't really know where you're going, but you're in this vast ocean of many different possibilities. But instead, when you have clear goals, now you have a team, especially if you have clear goals for your shop, and you make your team and your shop aware of what these goals are. Everyone's moving in the right direction. And so the wind is in the sails, things, you have constant momentum. And even when things are maybe not going in that right direction, you can quickly pivot and know that, hey, we need to make an adjustment here, because we clearly saw that, okay, from this month to this month, we didn't see the progression that we expected to be able to see. Why is that? If you don't set goals, you would never know if you performing poor or not. Just at the end of the year, you're filing your taxes and you're like, oh, that's how much revenue we made, and that wasn't quite what I hoped to do, or whatever it may be. Like, you don't want it to be that long of a process, because then you will absolutely not see the improvement that you want for your shop. And so there's a Harvard study where they had just about 2,000 interviews of grads, 2,000 people. And so 84% of them, they said that they did no specific goals. They just kind of like what I was like before. It's kind of, you had something in your mind, but that was it. You never really made goals. 13%, they had goals. So they actually had things that they knew that they were going to do, but they never wrote them down. They were just kind of in their mind of, yeah, these are my goals for the year, and this is what I hope to accomplish. But that was it. 3% had clear written goals and plans to accomplishment. And so here you can kind of see where I'm going to go with this in terms of the most effective things and ways to do goals. So the results. So 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. Okay, and this is all. This was a Harvard study of just, again, 2,000. They tried to make it as even as possible in terms of like where they graduated from, things like that. It's kind of level the playing field there. But here you can clearly see, just by making goals alone, very much in terms of increase of revenues earned there. And then even more staggering was the 3% who had clear written goals were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. So that was kind of the eye opener for me when I read about this study, which is like, holy moly, just by writing down your goals and having them in front of you and having an action plan behind how you're going to achieve them allows people to really 10x and grow exponentially in terms of what they could ever dream of doing. So definitely a challenge for those of you. We're still in January. You can absolutely still set your goals for the year. It's not too late. And even if it was only January, it's never too late to set your goals. And so goal setting framework. So first, you want to obviously have them written down. And then you need to set a minimum in terms of a minimum like the time or minimum dollar amount or whatever it is. There needs to be a minimum point that you have to see here to be able to then see the change is being made or not. So typical rule of thumb for me, 1 year goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals. So that way you have good reviewing standpoints and you can make quick adjustments each and every month as you go about doing these goals. And so you must have a stopping point at the beginning of each new year and end of each quarter to reflect. So at least end of each quarter. So for us, so like for example, my wife and I, we review them honestly at the end of each week, our monthly goals, how we're performing, how we're doing, and seeing, okay, what can we do this week to do better? Or what can we do this week to stay consistent, whatever it may be. But at least once a quarter, you want to at least reflect on like, okay, so far this year, this is how the shop has performed. Is this up to standard? Is this below or is this above? What are the things that are causing these things to happen? So that way you can quickly, again, gather the team together, say, hey, we're at this point this year. You guys are doing an amazing job. This is what we need to keep doing. Or, hey guys, right now we are tracking below. These are the reasons why. And being as a leader, maybe you own that responsibility. Your team will appreciate that. But then these are the action steps we need to take to really turn this around this year. And again, get everyone behind that momentum there. So what are your goals? So first, if you guys have paper, pencil, or if you have a notepad on your computer, pull that up and let's sort of make those goals together if you haven't already. So first off, I want you to write down what is your revenue target for 2023. And if you don't mind sharing with me in the comments just what your revenue target is, that would be amazing for me, just to kind of understand where you guys are at. Okay, perfect. And once you write down your revenue target for the annual portion, so how much is that monthly? So all you got to do is divide it by 12. And in Excel, you can easily do equals amount divided by 12 or calculator, whatever you need to do. I know that divided by 12 is a tricky number. So make sure you understand that monthly amount there of your annual revenue. And then we want to be able to figure out how many calls how many calls will that require in order to hit that monthly amount. And so we're going to go over together though, in terms of creating a spreadsheet of how to determine how much a call is worth, and then backtracking to how many calls total you'll need. And then what is your ARO? So you want to make sure you understand your average repair order, both what it was in 2022 and what you want it to be in 2023. If you have a labor rate increase that you're factoring in or whatever it may be, you want to make sure that we clearly understand what your ARO will and should be for this coming year. All right. So hopefully everyone has been able to jot that down, take notes of that. All right, so now we're going to go over to this link here. Let me throw this in the chat so everyone has it. So it's going to be a bit.ly link 2023 workbook -3. Let me I'm going to throw it in the chat here. I'll just throw in this whole link. Okay, so there's that link in the chat. It's going to lead you to this spreadsheet. And so first off, what you're going to do once you get to this, you're going to want to do file, make a copy, and then you're going to save. You can call it whatever you want, and then make a copy so you can save it to your drive, because the spreadsheet that you're on is not going to be editable. So that once you make it your own, you can then be able to edit any of the fields here. Okay. And please let me know if that's working okay. So if you have that working, please throw a yes in the chat for me, just to ensure that you got that okay. Or if not, if I need to edit anything on my end in terms of this sheet. So yeah, so if you can comment and throw a yes for me, so that way I can know that this is working for y'all. No link. Oh. So this link in the chat is not working. Let me try to go back to here. Still this one in here. How about that one? Try that link. Or you're not seeing the link. I can leave this up a little bit longer. Is that working okay for you, Todd? I hope so. I'm gonna keep going, but please comment if it's still not working for any of you. Please let me know, and I'll try to shoot that link over. Okay. So in terms of how this spreadsheet works, so there's things that I've built in here already, so that way you don't need to manually change all the numbers and figure out the equations. There's just going to be a few fields that you have to change. So first off, it's going to be your annual revenue goal. So what we just did a little bit ago, throw in that number here. So whether it be, maybe it'll be $1 million is your annual goal of this year, or if it's 1.2, or if it's higher, whatever it may be. So 12 million, that's a little bit high. So 1.2 in terms of the annual revenue, what someone wants hit. So obviously monthly revenue target of 100,000. Can't see your link. Maybe you can email it. Oh, I apologize. Are you guys not seeing my? Let me see here. Stop share. Okay. Okay. So this is the link. I don't think I can mass email it fast enough to get all you guys' emails down. So I'll leave this up. Just type it one by one, and it should lead you right to it. Because what I did, I just copied and pasted this link in the tab, and it popped the spreadsheet up. So hopefully this is working okay. Okay, I hope. So bit.ly/2023-workbook, then -3, then enter. And it should take you right to here. If not, I apologize. I'll send this out to you personally if it's still not working. And that way, I mean, we can even schedule a meeting together if need be, to review it. Okay. And then the next thing that you're going to want to change is your arrow. And so you want to ensure that we have the right arrow here that you want down. So whether it be 500, or you're like, nope, it's going to be 750 this year. Things are going to populate and change automatically, as you can see. So we'll leave it at 600. So naturally, what that's going to do is create, okay, how many cars would be required to hit this monthly goal? So all this is doing is monthly revenue divided by the arrow. Spits us out a car count for us, nice and easy here. All right, and then now this is the last level. Last thing that we're going to want to plug in is what your average conversion rate is per call that comes in to the shop. So say your service writer is good about closing 75% of them, or maybe the quality of calls aren't as good sometimes, so we close about 50% of the calls. Or if you want to in between, throw 60, or guys are very good, we close at least 80%. So whatever it may be, whatever works for you, 75% is what I typically throw on here for this exercise. Just I think it's a fair rule of thumb in between what you at least should be shooting for is closing about 75% of those calls coming through. So what that turns out to be is number of leads needed per month to hit the target is going to be 222, or number of calls that need to come in. Okay. And so that's just the number of cars divided by the percent to then give us that flow through. And down here, as you can see, the average cost per generated lead, $25, a good rule of thumb. You don't need to touch that, but this helps you understand, okay, budget required to hit this target per month based on $25 per lead. You're looking at around a little over $5,500 a month that's needed. That times 12 is the budget required for the year. And then just so that way you understand the budget as a percentage of revenue. So that's going to be 5.5 of marketing in terms of the annualized revenue. So that way you can see that there, because that's a really important number to understand. You don't want to just throw out dollars to throw out dollars. You want to make sure you have a good burden rate of marketing to revenue. And also sometimes some dollars seem really big, like more than you ever expected it to be. But looking at it as a percentage of revenue, it might make a little bit more sense to say, oh, wait, actually, no, this plenty makes sense in terms of what I should be investing in marketing dollars. Okay. So once you're done with that, we're going to go over to the budget allocation section. So from here, we're going to have the flow through that works down in terms of what marketing dollars you should be spending in each given area. Okay. So you could, in terms of the budget for the marketing, you could use this exact number that's right here, Or if you're like, nope, I know that I want to use a different percentage here, then this is what's going to flow through. So this number pulls straight from this target, and then marketing percentage, this is where you will adjust this percent. So I have a little comment here. So 8% is the rule of thumb for a typical marketing budget. 50% would be something that someone's very aggressive in terms of really trying to explode growth. 3% is really on the more conservative side. Or if you want to go with, say, something in between conservative and aggressive, we'll go with 5. And then that's where you're getting at $60,000 in marketing budget there. So but we'll keep it back to 8 just so that we can see it there. So from there, again, these numbers just flow straight through. And then the allocation between online and offline marketing. So this is another mechanism that you'll be able to play with yourself. Now, you can, online marketing is going to be in terms of like Google Ads, your SEO, social media, and anything online. Offline is going to be more along the lines of, say, mailers, radio, some of the other, or billboards, some of those other mechanisms. And so split, usually I say this is a pretty good split in terms of 60-40. I mean, obviously, again, we're an online marketing company, and so I think the ROI is a little bit stronger online wise, just in this day and age. And so typically even like a 75-25 split is very, very good in terms of what can be accomplished there. Some people, though, just depending on where you are, maybe it needs to be vice versa, it needs to be flipped. And so you need 75 offline, 25% online. And here you can see the online and offline total marketing budget dollars there. Well, let's put it back to 60-40. Then from here, it automatically splits it out for you. Okay, this is my monthly budget for online. This is my monthly budget for offline. And then repeat business. This is how much I'm investing. So repeat business would be like if you're sending out maybe a referral bonus or particular mailers just to returning customers, or if you're doing any sort of campaign just to getting people to come back, that would be the budget there in terms of what you're allocating and investing. But usually for us, we just lump it in with any texting campaign you're already doing, so there isn't really any additional spend on top of what you are doing there. You can keep it lean, but then really make sure you have all those touch points happening. All right. And so now as we go down to online marketing in and of itself, we want to split it out in terms of how that should be working. And so the main two are going to be SEO and pay-per-click. Display retargeting, that's going to be if you're doing, say, geofencing, or maybe certain social media campaigns and leveraging retargeting there. That's what you're going to be using, or maybe even video ads is going to be considered display ads. So what typical is going to be, you're going to be investing in both SEO and pay-per-click. Usually a little bit heavier on the pay-per-click side, just because it's a little bit more expensive. So you need to leverage a little bit more dollars. But when your SEO is rolling really strong, typically you're able to dwindle this pay-per-click budget down even more. And here again, you see the flow through of, oh, this is what I need to spend for the year on SEO. This is what I need to spend for the year on pay-per-click across the board to get your online marketing budget. And even more so, this splits it out for you in terms of, hey, SEO per month, pay-per-click per month, and then display retargeting per month, how that should look. Okay. So everything in white, that's where, I mean, if you see an equals sign, do not touch it. But if it's just a fixed number, that's where you can go ahead and edit it and play with it. Kind of see how that splits out. So how is that working for everyone? Is everyone able to leverage this okay? Is it making sense? Again, I can walk through anything that is needed here. So there's no need to be shy with any questions or anything like that, because I'm happy to help. So did that work okay for everyone? All right, we got a shy group today. So I'm going to assume that everything is working okay. But so this last tab is going to be your marketing calendar here. So just to give you, it helps you understand of what emphasis you want to put on certain times of the year in terms of your different marketing campaigns. So pay-per-click, maybe you want an emphasis on suspensions during the winter, and then brake repairs as we enter spring, heating AC during the summer, and then electrical diagnostic during as we get towards the latter end of fall and beginning of winter. there. Again, you can change this. This is just, again, notes for yourself. I've just kind of put these as like blocks just to give you ideas of how this should work. Email and social campaigns, just to make sure they're aligned. Do a happy new year, and then you just have like April showers, May flowers, just different ideas in terms of what you can name your different campaigns here. And this last one, it's going to be just SEO, same thing. So usually the SEO and pay-per-click, they're going to coincide together. SEO in terms of emphasis would be mainly around like a blog content, things like that you're putting onto the website. And then email, social, those are getting blasted out typically to your returning customer basis. And so this is where you want to keep the message pretty consistent for them. Okay. So any questions there in terms of this spreadsheet, how it works, the equations, the flow through? Hopefully I try to make it as simple as possible, so it's pretty easy to use as you navigate it and play with the different numbers, see how things spit out. But again, any questions before we go back to the rest of the slides? Okay. Well, again, if you have any questions, feel free. So I will keep this rolling. All right. So marketing strategy, big picture. So here in the middle, we have kind of the different levels of your marketing strategy that you need to really pay attention to. So it's going to be leads, conversion, and then optimizing your ROI. Okay. So leads are going to be made up of organic search. So where you're ranking SEO and ranking in the maps effectively without having to spend that extra top dollar for paid ads. So that's where you're paying for Google ads, being listed on the top. You can also be listed in the maps, paying for that. And then database, this is going to be leveraging your current customer base in terms of bringing them back, whether you're doing like texting out a monthly promo or something along those lines. That's where all your leads are going to be coming from. So you want to make sure that you're understanding how you're marketing to each one and if you're effectively marketing here. And then conversion. So now once you get the lead, where are they going? So they're going to go to your website, and they're going to, is it very easy to convert on your website in terms of, is your phone number easily accessible there? Are they able to fill out a form and schedule an appointment? Do they have just all the things that they need to see from you on your website very clear? And then reputation. Is your reputation strong? Because if you have poor reviews, conversions aren't going to be very high. So you want to ensure that you're doing a great job of service. And then those people that are happy, making sure they leave a review. So that way you have it listed there and you can leverage that as a testimonial for your shop, things along those lines. And then automation. So making sure that you have a mechanism to say automatically reply if you missed a phone call, or if they fill out a form, is there a way that automatically sends a message out to them saying you're going to get there as fast as possible? And then the team member gets notified saying, hey, this person filled out a form, please reach out to them within the next 5 minutes, or whatever it may be, just to make sure that you're not losing any of these potential leads that come through. And then optimizing ROI. So we want to ensure then that you're understanding total spend of where you're doing with your marketing dollars. You're understanding average cost per lead in terms of how much it's costing you for every new phone call that's coming through, every returning phone call that's coming through. And then overall, you'll be able to understand the ROI that you're getting from your marketing dollars in terms of, this is how much I'm spending in marketing. This is how much money is bringing in to our shop. Is this going to be effective? Help me understand where you get an 8% marketing budget and your standard is 4% of sales goal. I've only ever been told 4% from anyone. No, that's totally fine. Mike, so usually what I do is compare in terms of like people on average are spending rent, usually around 5% of their marketing dollars. And so then I've seen 8%, usually that it's like 6 to 8. And so obviously I've rounded up here to 8%, but that's been on average what I've seen across the board as a very effective marketing budget. Granted, it's not going to be the most effective for everyone. And if people are finding it very effective as 4% of sales to be a great marketing spend that's bringing in top dollar, then that is amazing. I mean, the leaner that you can be bringing a strong ROI, that there's nothing wrong with doing that. So, but that's a great point, regardless, Mike, of bringing that up. So I appreciate that. As long as you're understanding the ROI that's coming through from your marketing dollars, that's honestly the most important. Because from there, if you're seeing a very effective ROI, you'll be able to properly understand if it makes sense to invest more dollars, or nope, we need to invest less dollars, or whatever it may be, based on just, I mean, bandwidth of team and text that you have in, things along those lines. So, all right. So next challenge is going to be your website. So pull up your website right now and look and see if it's built to convert. And so by that, I mean, when you pull up your website, are you, without scrolling or anything, first off, does it load quickly? Secondly, can you clearly see your phone number? Can you tap on it with your phone if you're using it with your phone? Because more than half of the people are going to be visiting your website with their phone anyways. And then are you able to schedule an appointment if that's the mechanism you want to have? Is there an easy button to see there? Is there a form that they can quickly go to? So those are things you want to you want to look at all of that. You want to make sure that, again, logo is there for your shop. They know where they are. So take a look at that and then see if there's anything you potentially need to tweak. So yeah, let me know if you're currently looking at your website and seeing if anything needs to be adjusted there. So again, basic rule of thumb, logo is going to be in the top left, phone number or scheduling appointment is going to be in the top right, big and bold, very easy to see, because again, it was hard enough to get them there to the website, whether they got there through paid ads or they got there through organic search. You want to make sure then there isn't confusion about how to contact you. So take a look at that, ensure that that is at least in place. Okay, and so here's why. So leads that are not followed up with it within 15 minutes, go code. Did I skip a slide? Well, in terms of leads not being followed up with, so this is more along the lines of if you're getting a missed call or a form being filled out and you're not following up to them, this is very important to then have the automation behind that. And so this is what this is referring to. The average customer must be followed up within 5 to 7 times before booking. This is a little bit on the higher number, but as long as you have a mechanism to ensure that you are following up with the customer and making sure that they come back, then that is very ideal. Because again, people are looking for immediate feedback. And so even if you weren't able to answer the phone, if you say you have a text that goes out immediately when you missed the call, at least you have that point of contact with them saying, hey, I'm here. We're busy, but how can we help you? Kind of. I mean, obviously, you're not going to say we're busy, but that's what the text is going through to let them know, hey, we want to still take care of you. I got online schedule appointment button, but I should put the phone and email info on header instead of footer. Yeah, so definitely phone number. Email is not as important unless that's like a main way of communication for yourself between your customers, Thomas. I would recommend highly focusing more on the phone call way. That's just you can get more immediate feedback from them. Emails, things can get lost in the fold. Maybe even their email itself is for some reason listed as spam and it goes to your spam folder. You never see a lead that came through. So that's where I would focus on. Definitely the phone number. Email, though, you can still slap on the bottom of the footer or on your contact page, things like that. All right. So solution is building some automation, like I just mentioned, in regards to your follow-up. So within the first 2 minutes of submission on a form on your website, you have a follow-up of an email thanking them, or these are the next steps that they should expect, just so that way they know that you are taking the process to reach out to them. They're not just like, oh, I should probably call a few other shops because I don't know if the shop's going to get back to me. You want to have definitely an automated process. You don't want a person having to do this every single time as well. That's going to get cumbersome and very time consuming. So just make sure you have some sort of automation in place there. And like I mentioned, the follow-up, you want to make sure we're touching these people, especially via two-way text, because people in this day and age are just more comfortable texting. And so you want to make sure you're at least offering that to your clientele there. All right, so it's simple math. In terms of, we have an example of 100 leads, your conversion rate is 30% because you have no good follow-up process. So thus only 30 cards are getting booked. Arrow 650, you're looking at 19.5 in terms of monthly revenue. But in this case, if you have automated follow-up, so I've seen big upticks in terms of conversion rates of just having a simple text follow-up process for things that you miss, whatever it may be. And so here we just have an example where it shoots up to 70% just by having automated follow-up. And then you can see the difference of, okay, 40 more cars booked at 650, looking at 45.5. So that's an increase of 26K per month. That run rate over a year is pretty big dollars there. And so you want to ensure that you have a process that you're not just letting leads fall through the cracks. And so it makes every lead you generate more valuable. And so let's implement this in your business today. So that's in terms of both, if you do not have a texting platform, find one. It doesn't have to be our company. Just there's other great ones out there. So I just find a way to automate what you do, because I know obviously as shop owners, y'all are very busy. And so just make sure there's a process flow that your team can easily follow to know the steps to make sure that these cars are coming in. And so, yeah, so takeaways so far today. Anyone in terms of any other questions, or is there anything crucial that you feel like you've learned today, or anything that you would like to share? And again, I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. If this is even a question that you have that's off topic of what we're talking about today, but still involves, say, some level of your marketing or something you need help with, I'm happy to answer that as well. So please do not be afraid to ask whatever you want. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep looking at the chat though. So if anyone has something that pops up, please let me know. All right, so far we've covered set clear goals and targets for the year, realign your KPIs and tracking to achieve those outcomes. So just at least understanding. So KPIs are key performance indicators. So if you didn't know that acronym, and so that's just understanding the key numbers of your shop. So whether that be your monthly rev, your ARO, car count, your net profit, making sure that you just understand the different numbers there. So mapping out a plan to make sure that you can accomplish those. So budget, the channels, the important trends, and then setting you up for Master Success of 2023 by just setting up these goals. Okay, so for those of you that need help implementing anything, or really just want to run something by me, free strategy session. We'll go over your shop, the website, your Google map listing, just things that you can improve overall that again will help you grow. Mike, social media platforms other than Facebook, what else is recommended? Twitter doesn't work, or Instagram. Facebook is a small portion of the customer base. Is Maze a waste of time? Maze, I've honestly never heard of Maze. Waze. Okay. So with the Waze app as well, again, the ROI is not going to be as strong. So Facebook is going to be the number one social media platform for your customers here for auto repair shops that we've seen the ROI wise. Twitter, definitely, I wouldn't bother wasting time doing that. Very rarely will you be getting a bunch of customers coming from there. Instagram, so because Instagram and Facebook are linked, it kind of creates a very easy mechanism to be able to post in both. And so it doesn't hurt to have another platform to then post in another. So that's where Instagram, I think, makes the most sense there. And if you're doing ads, it automatically will run in both places. And so that's where you definitely at least want to have the two and have them working together. That creates just synergy there, less work that you're having to do. Honestly, another good place to leverage is going to be YouTube if you're doing video. I think this little video introductions of, say, yourself, of what someone should expect when they come to the shop, or a little video snippet of different services that you perform, and having that on your website, but then also having a YouTube channel behind that can be very powerful. And I know video takes a little bit more time, a little bit trickier to be able to feasibly do, but definitely a very powerful tool because people love video. So that coincides really well into then TikTok. I know for me, honestly, them as a platform, I don't really care for, especially what trends, But if you are making short form video, and so in terms of like reels or little TikTok videos, those can get a lot of eyeballs. And so that's obviously, at the end of the day, that's what we want to create, is creating this appearance of your shop and a lot of people seeing it. It looks like a fun environment, or whatever you want to do and create behind that. That can be another very powerful social media tool to be able to leverage and use. And I mean, you're not going to have a bunch of auto repair shops also using it. So thus the cost per lead is going to be a little bit more affordable, things like that. So any mechanism where you can still get a lot of eyeballs, but not a lot of people are advertising in it, could be very beneficial for user shop to stand alone and as a very unique brand within your area. So great question, Mike, and I appreciate you asking that as well. Any other questions that any of you may have? Okay, we're going to keep going. So I have a little bit left here. Facebook group, if you're not already in it, go to just type in Auto Repair Owners Mastermind in Facebook. And we have a little over 900 shop owners now in the group, where, yes, we share some marketing tips, but also owners are able to share different things that have worked for them, ideas, questions they have, and just get kind of that validation or feedback from what's working, what's not. So yeah, so Auto Repair Owners Mastermind, if you just type in this link as well, will lead you straight to the group. Then we have a free internet marketing checklist here on our website. So if you go liftautorepairmarketing.com/marketing checklist, you kind of have a basic level of all these things that are crucial to have on the website, things that are crucial to have on your Google Map listing, just to ensure it's optimized and setting you up in the best position to be successful for your shop. Some of it you may already have in place. Perfect. Doesn't hurt to already check. But for some of you that maybe are just starting, a very beneficial tool to be able to just see, yep, I got this done, got this done. Oh, I still need to do this. Just gives you a good spot to start and finish. And then our brand new announcement that we announced today live is my wife and I wrote a book. So you can find this on Amazon. You can go to this link, this bit.ly link, or you can even type it in Amazon. You can say, just type in Drive More Business. You'll be able to find our book there. The step-by-step guide to internet marketing for auto repair shops. So there'll be different chapters on different things like social media, Google Ads, your website in and of itself, the basic principles of SEO, Google Maps. So really across the board of your online marketing presence, we'll have different chapters and sections on those. So that way you can read through, and really, if you want, you can definitely do it yourself as you go through it, because we just kind of walk you through step by step of where to go, buttons to click, things like that when you're in different places. Okay. So again, yeah, I appreciate you all being with me here today. You can call me directly, 877-733-3446, or you can schedule an appointment here, liftautorepairmarketing.com/schedule. But before I leave you here, are there any other questions? No, and so I don't see any questions. If you do have a question, I'll still leave it up. But in terms of the book, for those of you that stayed with me here to the very end, I really am appreciative. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send each one of you a free copy of our book. So really all I need is your address of where to send it to. So the best way to probably do that will be to message me on Facebook. So if you have, hopefully you have a Facebook, you can message me there, just directly of what your address is, or just say, hey, Kelsey, I was in the webinar to the end, and do you mind sending me the book, or whatever it may be. That way I just know it's you, because I can see the names here that I have written down. So, and then some of you only have your first name though, so that way hopefully I know if you just do it pretty quickly, so that way I know for sure you're the first person of that name to claim it's you, and I don't just send it to someone random. But yeah, just send me over your address, and I appreciate you being here this entire time of the webinar. So I really want to be able to send you a free copy of our book. So yeah, thank you all, and thanks for putting in the page amount there, Mike. Yeah, we do have a friendly competition on our Facebook channel. Yes, you can absolutely see the amount of pages on Amazon, and so try not to share it with too many people. I'm going to pick someone by the end of today in terms of that winner. I know you can find it on Amazon and see it there, but anyway, all of you that are in here, regardless, are going to be getting a copy. So I appreciate you all, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thanks.